Peppa Pig, the dentist trip. Every morning, Peppa and George brush their teeth. Brush, brush, brush. George, are your teeth as clean as mine? Peppa asks, showing off her shiny white teeth. You both have very lovely clean teeth. I'm sure the dentist will be happy, calls out Daddy Pig. Later that day, Peppa and George are at the dentist's office waiting for their checkups. It is George's first visit. Peppa, George, the dentist will see you now, says Miss Rabbit, the nurse. Hooray! They both cheer. Peppa and George meet Dr. Elephant, the dentist. Who's first? He asks. I'm first, replies Peppa. I'm a big girl. Watch me, George. Open wide, please, Dr. Elephant says. Ah! Peppa opens her mouth as wide as she possibly can. Let's take a look, says Dr. Elephant, checking Peppa's teeth with a mirror. There, all done. What beautiful clean teeth, says Dr. Elephant. Now you can rinse your mouth. Grrr, poof. The pink liquid tastes like bubble gum. Peppa spits it out into the sink. It's George's turn next. George does not want it to be his turn. Dr. Elephant can tell he's nervous, so he lets George hold his Mr. Dinosaur. All done. You have very strong, clean teeth, George. Dr. Elephant smiles. But wait, what is this? Cries Dr. Elephant. George has clean teeth, but this young dinosaur's teeth are very dirty. The water jet, please, Miss Rabbit, orders the dentist. He uses the water to clean Mr. Dinosaur's teeth. Pink, cries George, picking up the glass. That's right, George, says Dr. Elephant. Mr. Dinosaur needs to rinse with the bubblegum flavored drink. Wow, what shiny teeth you have, Mr. Dinosaur, cries Miss Rabbit. Dinosaur! Grr, says George. George loves Mr. Dinosaur, especially now that he has nice, clean teeth. And now, Peppa and George have clean teeth too. The end. This has been Peppa Pig 5-Minute Peppa Stories. This is Peppa Pig. Peppa is kind. Kindness means you are nice to others. There are lots of ways to be kind. Peppa shows George just how kind she is. She lets him pick which show to watch on TV. George is kind to Peppa too. Twang, bam, beam. They make music together. Peppa is kind to Daddy Pig. She laughs at his silly jokes. That makes Daddy Pig feel great. Peppa is kind to Mommy Pig. They fly a kite together. Peppa is kind to Granny and Grandpa Pig. She waters flowers with them. Peppa is kind to her friends. She invites Susie to a tea party. Susie is kind too. Thank you, Peppa, she says. Saying thank you is kind. Peppa and her friends visit Pedro at the hospital. Visiting a friend when they're not feeling well is one of the kindest things you can do. What else is kind? Sharing a swing with a friend. Peppa and Rebecca swing together at the park. Papa helps wash the family car. Mummy and Daddy Pig think that's very kind. Peppa is kind to her neighbors. Peppa and Zoe give them juice on a hot summer day. Peppa is kind to animals. Peppa and George give duck feed to the ducks in the pond. Peppa makes hot chocolate on a cold day. She shares it with Susie and George and even adds marshmallows on top. And being kind means doing things together, like playing games. There are lots of ways to be kind. Peppa is kind to herself too. She tries out new hobbies like roller skating, and she learns how to jump rope. Peppa makes sure she gets proper exercise to be healthy, and she gets plenty of rest. Peppa loves kindness. Everyone loves being kind. This is a book named Peppa Is Kind. Peppa Pig, Peppa plays soccer. It is a sunny day. Peppa and Susie Sheep are playing tennis while George watches. To you, Susie, cheers Peppa, hitting the ball. Now it's Susie's turn. To you, Peppa, she shouts, hitting the ball straight over Peppa's head. Oh dear. Wah! George feels left out. Sorry, George, says Peppa. You can't play tennis. We only have 2 rackets. George can be the ball boy, cheers Susie. Being a ball boy is a very important job, George, says Peppa. Peppa and Susie are having lots of fun, but they keep missing the ball. Ball boy, they shout together. Huff, puff. George is not having fun. He keeps running to get the ball, and he's very tired. Then, more of Peppa's friends arrive. Hello, everyone, says Peppa. We're playing tennis. Can we play too? asks Danny Dog. There aren't enough rackets for everyone, replies Susie Sheep. Let's play soccer then, says Danny Dog. Soccer! Hooray! Everyone cheers. We can play girls against boys, says Peppa. Each team needs a goalkeeper, says Danny Dog. Me, shouts Pedro Pony. Me, cries Rebecca Rabbit. Pedro Pony and Rebecca Rabbit decide to be the goalkeepers. The boys' team will start, says Danny Dog. Richard Rabbit gets the ball and runs very fast, right by Peppa Pig, Susie Sheep, and Candy Cat, and straight up to the goal! Shouts Danny and Pedro together as Richard Rabbit kicks the ball straight past Rebecca Rabbit and into the net. The boy's a winner! Cheers Danny Dog. That's not fair. We weren't ready, moans Peppa. Rebecca Rabbit picks up the ball and runs. Hey, shouts Danny Dog. That's cheating. You can't hold the ball. Yes, I can, says Rebecca. I'm the goalkeeper. Rebecca throws the ball into the goal, straight past Pedro Pony. Goal! She cheers. That goal is not allowed, says Pedro. Yes, it is, says Peppa. No, it isn't, barks Danny. Daddy Pig comes outside to see what all the fuss is about. What a lot of noise, he snorts. I'll be the referee. The next team to get a goal wins. Richard Rabbit and George run off with the soccer ball while everyone is still talking. Where's the ball? asks Peppa, looking around. But it's too late. Richard Rabbit kicks the ball straight into the goal past Pedro Pony. Hooray! The boys win! Cries Danny. Soccer is a silly game, says Peppa, disappointed. Just a moment, says Daddy Pig. The boys scored in their own goal. That means the girls win. Really? The girls gasp. Hooray! Soccer is a great game, cheers Peppa Pig. The girls agree. The end. This has been Peppa Pig 5-Minute Peppa Stories. Once upon a time, there was a clever little pig named Peppa. She was very proud of her teeth. Grunt, grunt. Peppa and her brother George knew how to take care of their teeth. They brushed them every morning and every evening. Brush, brush. Peppa and George loved playing dentist. Peppa would pretend to be the dentist and George would be her assistant. George's toy dinosaur was the patient. What lovely clean teeth you have, Mr. Dinosaur, Peppa smiled. Grrr, says George. One day, after playing their dentist game, Peppa and George were eating their dinner. Suddenly, something fell onto Peppa's plate. Clatter, clatter. It made Peppa jump. What's that? She asked. Ho, ho, it's a tooth, Daddy Pig laughed. But where is it from? Asked Peppa. Why don't you look in the mirror? Said Mummy Pig. Peppa looked. She had a big gap in her teeth. Oh no, Peppa cried. Do we need to go see Dr. Elephant? Ho, ho, ho. No, said Mummy Pig. It's just a baby tooth. It's meant to fall out. A baby tooth? What's that? Asked Peppa. A baby tooth is a tooth that falls out when you're young, explained Mummy Pig. A new one will grow in its place. What should I do with my baby tooth? Asked Peppa. If you place it under your pillow, the tooth fairy will come. She will take your tooth and leave you a shiny new coin, said Mummy Pig. That evening, while Peppa watched television with her family, she kept thinking about the tooth fairy. When I grow up, I want to be a tooth fairy, said Peppa. Daddy Pig chuckled. What about you, George? Asked Daddy. George pointed at his dinosaur. Dinosaur, he growled. Come on, George, shouted Peppa. We don't want to miss the tooth fairy. They both ran up to the stairs to get ready for bed. What are you doing, Peppa? Asked Daddy Pig. Peppa was carefully brushing her baby tooth. I want it to be nice and clean for the tooth fairy, said Peppa. Peppa tucked the tooth under her pillow. Are you sure the tooth fairy will be able to find it? She asked. I promise, said Mummy Pig. Just you wait and see. Good night, Peppa and George. Good night, Mummy. Good night, Daddy. I'm going to wait up all night for the tooth fairy, Peppa said. George, let's not go to sleep. George smiled and nodded. Peppa waited and waited. Snore, snore. She could hear something. Is that the tooth fairy? Peppa wondered. George, she whispered, did you hear that? Can you see the tooth fairy? She climbed down to look at George. He was fast asleep. It was him making the noise. I'm much better at staying awake than George, Peppa sighed. She settled back in her bed. After a while, her eyes started to close. She quickly opened again. I'm going to stay awake and see the tooth fairy, Peppa said to herself firmly. Snore, snore. But soon she was asleep. Tingle, tingle. What was that? It was the tooth fairy. Hello, Peppa, she whispered. Would you like a coin in exchange for your tooth? The tooth fairy gently took Peppa's tooth out from under the pillow and put a shiny coin in its place. What lovely clean tooth, the tooth fairy said. Thank you very much. Flutter, flutter, flutter. The next morning, Peppa found the shiny coin under her pillow. Mummy, the tooth fairy did come after all, she shouted, jumping up and down. Oh, I wish I'd seen the Tooth Fairy, Peppa sighed. Next time, I'm definitely going to stay up all night. The end. This has been Peppa Pig 5-Minute Peppa Stories. After breakfast, Mummy and Daddy Pig have a surprise. We have a special day planned, said Mummy Pig. We're going to a museum. What's a museum? Asked Peppa. It's a place full of interesting things. Sometimes those things are very old, said Daddy. Older than you? Asked Peppa. Yes, says Daddy, even older than me. Here we are, says Mummy Pig. The museum is very big, says Peppa. Ooh, says George. Mummy and Daddy Pig buy tickets from Miss Rabbit. What would you like to see first? Asked Miss Rabbit. Jewels, cries Peppa. Dinosaurs, says George. Grrr! The first stop is the King's and Queen's room. It's full of things from long ago. Peppa likes the beautiful robes. And look, there's a crown. There's a throne, too. Peppa wishes she could sit on it. She imagines what it would be like to be the queen, to wear the crown and sit on the royal throne. If I were the queen, she says, I would eat cake every day. The family bows to Her Royal Highness, Queen Peppa. George does not want to wear a crown and sit on the throne. He wants to see dinosaurs. George stands at the doorway to the dinosaur room. There are many unusual creatures here. Everything is so big, says Peppa, in a very big voice. Ooh, says George, in a very small voice. George sees a big dinosaur. Don't worry, says Daddy. Those are just dinosaur bones. They may just be bones, but they're very big. George can just imagine what it would be like to be a dinosaur. He would be bigger than Peppa. He could chase her. George sees something smaller and not very scary. It's a robot dinosaur. Everyone is hungry, so they go to the museum cafe for a cake. After the snack, it's time to see the next exhibit. There's a special one at the museum today, says Mummy Pig. It's all about space. George's friend Edmund is at the museum too. Edmund knows a lot about space. He and George wear space helmets to tour the exhibit. Miss Rabbit gives them their tickets. First, everyone gets on board the space ride. Blast off, says Mr. Rabbit. He is the tour guide. This is just pretend, isn't it? Asks Peppa. Yes, says Mr. Rabbit. It's just pretend. The rocket takes them to the pretend moon. There are pretend planets, too. Do you know what the planets are made of? Asks Mr. Rabbit. Cardboard, says Peppa. Well, these models are made of cardboard, but the real planets are made out of other things. Rock and ice and gas, says Edmund. What about cheese? Asked Daddy Pig. I thought the moon was made out of cheese. That's just silly, Daddy, says Peppa. If this was the real moon, you could jump over my head, said Mr. Rabbit. Do you know why? There's less gravity, yells Edmund. You're right. We can make you feel like you're on the moon with these special rubber bands. Everyone straps into the rubber bands. They jump. Boing, 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 just like on the moon. Miss Rabbit takes their picture. At the gift shop, Peppa takes the picture of everyone jumping on the pretend moon. Daddy's hungry again, so he gets a piece of moon cheese. Then it's time to go home. It's been a great day at the museum. Later, Mummy Pig asked Peppa and George, "What was your favorite thing at the museum?" Peppa liked everything at the museum, but she does have a favorite. "The crown," says Peppa. George liked the space ride, but that wasn't his favorite. "Dinosaur," says George. "I have two favorites," says Daddy Pig, "the cake and the cheese." This has been Peppa Pig and the Day at the Museum.
Peppa gives thanks. It's a lovely sunny morning. Peppa and Susie are having a tea party in the garden. "I brought my teddy to join us," says Peppa. "Did you bring your owl, Susie?" "No," says Susie. "I brought my new Mr. Super Snuggles. He's the best bear in the world." "What does he do?" Peppa asks. "He can sing," says Susie, "and says, 'I love you,' and his eyes light up." "Wow," says Peppa, "my teddy can't do any of those things." When Peppa gets home, she finds Mummy and Daddy Pig. "I would like a Mr. Super Snuggles, please," she says. "But you have a teddy bear, Peppa," says Mummy Pig. "My teddy is boring," Peppa snorts. "He can't sing or talk, and his eyes don't light up." "Oh," Daddy Pig laughs. "Come, Peppa, let me show you something." Daddy Pig shows Peppa a photo album. There are lots of pictures inside. "This is when we went camping," says Peppa, "and to the beach, and on a hot air balloon ride." "And who is in all the pictures with you?" asks Daddy Pig. "My teddy!" cries Peppa. "Right," says Daddy Pig. "You've had Teddy ever since you were a little piggy. That makes him very special." "We have to be thankful for the things we have," says Mummy Pig. "What's thankful?" asks Peppa. "It means we're happy for the wonderful things in our lives," says Mummy Pig. "What are you thankful for, Peppa?" Peppa thinks, "My toys!" She runs upstairs. Her room is filled with lots of lovely toys. "What else?" asks Mummy Pig. "Our house," cries Peppa. "I love our house and our car and our garden." "Ho, ho, ho," laughs Daddy Pig. "Anything else?" Peppa thinks. "I know something I'm thankful for," says Mummy Pig. "What?" asks Peppa. "You and George and Daddy Pig, of course," says Mummy Pig. Peppa giggles. "I'm thankful for that too." "I'm thankful for Susie Sheep and all my friends," says Peppa, "and Granny and Grandpa Pig." "Let's call Granny and Grandpa Pig right now," says Mummy. "We can invite them to a special dinner." Later that day, Granny and Grandpa Pig arrive. Mummy and Daddy Pig make a delicious dinner for everyone. Peppa and George help set the table. "This looks wonderful," says Granny Pig. Thank you for inviting us over. Peppa, would you like to tell Granny and Grandpa what you learned today? Says Daddy Pig. Yes, says Peppa. I learned that I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my toys and our house and my friends. How lovely, says Granny Pig. But most of all, I'm thankful for my family, says Peppa, and my teddy. Peppa loves being thankful. Everyone loves being thankful, especially when there's so much to be thankful for. The end. That was Peppa Gives Thanks.
It's St. Patrick's Day. Peppa and her family are going to Ireland. St. Patrick's Day began in Ireland. Those who celebrate usually attend parades or festivals and wear green. Peppa and George pack their bags. They can't wait. Peppa and her family live in England. Since it is close by, they can take a ferry ride to Ireland. A ferry is a big boat that transports passengers and other big objects like cars. Wow, Peppa says. She likes riding on the ferry. Before they arrive, Peppa and George see Ireland from a distance. People call Ireland the Emerald Isle, said Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig explains, because it's green like an emerald. When they arrive, Peppa likes how green everything is. At the top of a hill, Peppa spots Miss Rabbit in a gift shop. Look at the green outfits, Peppa gasps. These would be perfect for the St. Patrick's Day festival. Can we get some, Daddy, please? Okay, Daddy Pig replies. They can be our little bit of Ireland to take home. Mummy Pig buys a few extra things, like musical instruments, to take home. You can never have too many gifts. But when they arrive at the St. Patrick's Day festival, it's very quiet. I thought St. Patrick's Day festivals have lots of music and dancing, Peppa says. Why can't we hear anything? At the stage, they find Miss Rabbit again. I'm afraid we might have to cancel the festival, she says. Some of the band has forgotten their instruments. No St. Patrick's Day festival? Peppa asks. Then she gets an idea. What instruments do they need? An accordion, a tin whistle, and a fiddle, says Miss Rabbit. Mummy and Daddy Pig check the car. They find an accordion, a tin whistle, and a fiddle. You never know what will come in handy, says Mummy Pig, smiling. Thanks to Peppa and her family, the festival can now begin, Miss Rabbit announces. Hooray! Everyone cheers. Peppa and her family change into their green outfits. Irish dancing is the best, cries Peppa. I just can't stop. Me neither, says Daddy Pig, going quite red. You're not green like Ireland, Daddy, says Peppa. You're red. Daddy Pig chuckles. Thanks, Peppa, he says. Everyone has so much fun dancing, they don't notice it has started to rain. Luckily, Miss Rabbit appears with a basket of rain boots. It's getting too many to dance now, says Miss Rabbit, frowning. Yes, replies Peppa, but it's the perfect amount of muddy to... Splat! Jump in muddy puddles, Peppa says. Everyone at the St. Patrick's Day Festival jumps up and down in muddy puddles. I can't wait for next St. Patrick's Day, Peppa says as her family boards the ferry to go home. Peppa loves St. Patrick's Day. Everyone loves St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated every year on March 17th. Traditionally, it's celebrated with parades, festivals, and the color green. Many people consider it's a big part of the Irish culture. Shamrocks or three-leaf clovers are an important symbol on St. Patrick's Day. They're often worn on clothing or decorations. As Daddy Big tells Peppa, Ireland is also known as the Emerald Isle. It is covered in grass and other green plants. Since St. Patrick's Day is in part celebrates Ireland, green has become a symbol of St. Patrick's Day too. Peppa Pig. Peppa loves St. Patrick's Day. In the LOL Surprise Squad, everyone is different. They love it. Being different makes them who they are. Even when friends are as different as yin and yang, they find balance together. Some friends want to wear every bright color they can find. Some prefer black and white. Both Neon Cutie and Beatnik Babe rock their styles. Some friends can be tough, and some can be dainty. Both Tough Guy and Grand Queen love to be themselves. Some friends like to rock out the metal, others love the twang of country. Metal Babe and Twang agree that they both love music. Some friends have short hair and some have long hair. Crop it low or let it grow. All hair is beautiful. Curly, wavy, and straight hair, pulled into a puff or woven into braids. Every style is possible. Every style is fab too. It's fierce, shine, and believe. This squad rocks all skin tones. They're all different, and they all feel strong in their skin. Friends have brown eyes, blue eyes, green eyes, every color. Their eyes sparkle like sequins when they smile. Some friends wear glasses. Glasses may look fierce, but they also help these queens see their fab friends. Friends had different hobbies. Grow Girl likes to garden outside. Tech Girl would rather be inside on her computer. Both believe in chasing their passions. Honeybun likes a low-key style. Her Majesty loves to be extra. These good friends stay true to themselves even though they're different. Shiny Baby likes sunny days. Rain Cutie likes rainy days. Each person is different, just like every day. This squad can be as different as Punk and Pop, Neon and Pastel, or Fire and Water, but one thing stays the same. They're friends forever. This has been a book by LOL Surprise called Be You.
All About Bluey. As soon as Bluey bounds out of bed in the morning, she is ready to play. I've got an idea. Together with her little sister Bingo, she enjoys making up games, especially when she gets to decide the rules. Here come the grannies. Make sure you pick up some beans for dinner, Rita. Even though she is only 6 years old, Bluey likes pretending to be a grown-up and do grown-up things, such as running a shop or a hotel. She is great at organizing games with her friends, especially doctors. Help! I cuddled a cactus, and there's a crocodile on my tail. That's a real pickle. But it can take ages to decide stuff like the rules of the game, and who is a shopkeeper, and who is the kitten. My turn first. No, Bingo's going first. For real life? At school, Bluey enjoys listening to stories and making things. Everyone has their own way of playing and pretending to be a grown-up. I'm a fisherman. The terriers like protecting things, and Rusty is good at building. Hey, Indy, do you want to move into the upstairs house? Together, they all go on amazing adventures. At home, Bluey mucks around with her dad. They play magic xylophone, freeze, wrestle, whoa. And there is heaps of laughing and being silly. Even when Bluey gets a little distracted and forgets that she's in the middle of a game. Now what was I doing again? Oh yeah, hide and seek. One of Bluey's favorite things is hugs with her mom. Bluey's mom is an excellent storyteller and adventurer too. Look out for that whale, Pirate Bluey. Me treasure. And when things don't go Bluey's way, she knows her mom is always there for a chat. Hello, neighbor. Even though Bluey likes trying new things sometimes, she doesn't understand why it can be hard work, such as riding her bike. Not fair. But she is learning to find ways to be brave. Bluey's days are filled with fun and games and new adventures. And in the evening, nothing beats the special feeling of hanging out with the whole family. The end. That was all about Bluey.